Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kyle here with another Guardian Tales video, and it's been about a week since Kamael has been released, and after getting to play with him and watching other people do arena and stuff like that, I can confidently say that this guy is either one of, if not the best character in the entire game. So we have about 6 more days to pull for this character, and if you can, I strongly recommend you guys pull for this character. A lot of times when it comes to pulling a character, there's some kind of caveat, or they're going to fit in a specific team, or they're really good in a specific game mode. Not only does he excel in literally every game mode in the game, if not one of the best characters in each game mode, he's also very splashable in multiple different elements. You don't have to be heavily invested in Earth characters to make this guy good. And before we get into that, if we can get a like on this video, that'd be awesome. Also subscribe to the channel for more Guardian Tales content. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the video here. So I figured we could start with Arena and just talk about some of the synergies that he benefits from here in this game mode, because after playing with him, you can't just put him into any game mode. You really want to pick the right characters to make him excel the best. At first, I was using Future Princess, and you can throw another range character in here, but I think he doesn't excel well with Future Princess because she's a melee character. He's giving a range buff. Yes, you want to have a tanky character on the team, but there's better tanky characters to fit on the team with him that are going to synergize significantly better. It's going to benefit both of them way better, in my opinion. So I would say out of all the tanky characters, I wouldn't really put Future Princess with him. If I was going to pick a tanky character, I think 2 of them excel really well with him. The first one is going to be Arena. She has a couple range moves in her kit, so it's going to benefit from the 50% range buff. She gives defense to party members. So right here, this 45% defense, that's going to help with him in making him a little bit more survivable. So you get a mutual benefit there. Also, her typing is really well. She excels in being able to beat Future Princess. If you've seen any gameplay of Kamael, he also excels against Future Princess, so you have no worry there when it comes to her. I know she's a very notorious character when it comes to Arena, but it's getting to the point where so many people can beat her that you don't even really need her on the team. You don't have to really worry about her because there's so many different answers for her nowadays. And lastly, to round out the team, what people have been doing, this is by far the most popular comp here, is they put Noxia. I would say Noxia is probably the best pairing when it comes to any type of character that can work with Kamael for multiple reasons. First of all, she's a range character and she's dark. She's good typing and she's going to be able to cover basic characters in like Sohi and Arena. And then not only that, but she has a great chain skill that works well with him because it's all of it to airborne, and then he procs off airborne to injured. So you can always put her in like a Coliseum scenario. You can put her before him, and then you can always rely on, regardless of what other characters you have in the team, she's going to make it to where he can actually proc the chain. Is just overall a very good character for those game modes in general. This would probably be the most popular team that you can use with him, but not the only team. And he just works well with here because you got, he seemed, after using him, seems to scale well with tankiness. I really liked having both of these characters on the team. What I was doing a ton of was I was still using Arena, but I was using Lucy as well. And Lucy pairs well because she's a ranged character. She's fire to be able to kind of deal with other Kamaels, but she kind of gets bodied by Kamael just because of how broken he is. Even in a favorable matchup, because she's a fire character, still has a hard time against Kamael, just speaking just to how good he is. I've had multiple matches against fire characters and I'm still able to win, which I don't think is okay. I think he probably needs a balance change, but just from what we got here, he's amazing. And then there's a lot of times where I would put him at the end of my lineup and I would be bummed that I traded with a Kamael with a fire character. I was like, oh, that's Lucy's not really cutting it, but he's so good that just getting him out of the match, you'll be able to take on 1.5, 2 characters. Like I've done that a lot of times in Master Tier Arena, and that's not like an unusual thing to be able to just, okay, I have Kamael, they have 2 characters, or they have 1.5 characters, and I just sweep them because he's so good. So just keep that in mind, like just being able to knock out their Kamael by any means necessary, which in this case is Lucy, worked out really well, and they synergize well together. Yeah, you get the defense character slot, you get crit rating, or you get extra crit chance with Lucy here, and then giving range buff to kind of both of them, like 1.5 of them fully on Lucy, and then kind of like half her kit here for Arena. So I like this comp a lot. You can always change this with a Noxia. You can always change this with an Ogma if you don't have either of those, but I don't think those are ideal, but totally possible. These are not the only comps. I would say the best synergy, especially in Arena, is definitely throwing in a Noxia there. One little tip, if you're going to be using Noxia against him, definitely don't summon your pet against him, because he's able to hit multiple things and heal off multiple things, and he'll just heal too much, getting that 2-for-1. It's actually a detriment. You want to not have your pet against him, and you actually might have a chance to be able to beat him there if you can land your weapon skills with Noxia. Matchup wise, he excels against, like, he does so good against everyone. The fact that he even has a chance against other fire units when he's an earth character is pretty hilarious. He's reducing defense, so I would say the best accessory against him is going to be this earth necklace. I think this is really important if you're a character that can take advantage of that, and you have the 100% defense decrease negated, and you're a character that has good typing against him, you might have a chance to beat him. I think it just speaks to just how good he is as a character. You could try to outplay his weapon skill because it's only either up, down, or left, right. That's like a way to kind of beat him, but there's not many characters that can actually go toe to toe with him because of just how much damage he does, how much survivability he has, and how much healing he does himself as he's damaging you. So very good character in Arena. Those are the characters that I like to pair with them. Essentially just trying to find the synergy between ranged, whatever meta is going on, like whatever range character that also addresses the meta is probably going to be good. That's why I like Lucy. You can also do other characters too, but I would say for the most part, this is going to be the best lineup, and then the best tanks are going to be either Arena or Noxia. So that's going to kind of end the Arena discussion, and now I want to talk about Coliseum because I think this is actually pretty interesting, the different team comps you can do. So what I like to do when it comes to looking at team comps here is I like to look at the chain skills and just kind of look how we're going to break it down. Let's just go with Future Princess because this is where I think Future Princess can work here, but we got to remember that it's injured to down, so how are we going to fit this with him? Because he's a range character, he's airborne, we need to be able to proc airborne, so we're looking for range characters. So back to Noxia, I think she's absolutely the best off tank or side character you can run with them, and she actually does decent damage, especially with the increased boost here with Kamael. But this is going to be one of the best people to pair him with. She's obviously not going to be good in the leadership spot, so Future Princess would take that. Then we need to look at what kind of character we can pair that would be like a range character. I would say one of the most popular is going to be Future Knight. And Future Knight works great here because it goes down to airborne, and then we'd be able to use airborne to injured, and then she can proc off anything and knock them right back up to airborne. And if you guys are not familiar, airborne gives range units 50% extra damage, so them being in the airborne state as much as possible is going to be fantastic. So this would complete the chain. This would work well. Future Knight is a good character that's giving weapon skill regen speed increase to Future Knight or to Future Princess here, and is a range character, and is basic, does well against the light teams. So overall, a very good team here for Coliseum. And yeah, you could substitute a couple of things here, but I think this is going to be one of the most solid lineups you can run with him. And another comp that I think is pretty interesting that I've had a ton of success with is going to be splashing him into a mono dark team. How you would run this comp is you would need to lead with Arabelle. So definitely going to have Agma on here. Okay, so this comp here I think is actually fantastic. And how you would want to organize it is we go back to the chain skill. Obviously we're going to have her in the front here. Then, well, since we have this chain, we're going to go down to injured, and then we're going to have anything knock up to airborne, and then airborne to injured here. So this is how you would be able to manage this. I think this is a very solid team. The main benefit you get here is Arabelle does a ton of damage with her chain. She has a great weapon skill. It bounces, so it shoots a special plasma grenade that bounces off a maximum of 3 times. She's getting extra synergy because of the 50% extra range damage, and she's giving Noxia 50% damage as well. So she actually does a ton of damage in this comp. But what's also cool about this is he, with the exclusive weapon, is giving attacks a maximum of 3 enemies near the circle of life. On circle of life hit, deal 25% DPS damage, and immediately reduces range defense effect, hitting multiple targets, reducing all of their ranged defense, and her weapon skill is able to hit multiple targets. So it's a great synergy there that works out incredibly well, whether it be Coliseum, Orbital Lift, or Camazone. And with this comp here, even with her not even being maxed, I was able to complete like the highest level of Camazone because light was banned. I believe light and water were banned. So I just ran this comp here, and this worked out incredibly well in Camazone. And then I can imagine this working pretty good in Coliseum. It depends on your Coliseum shard with what kind of comps are meta, because I think this team would get absolutely crushed by a full light team. but that full light team struggles against the basic team. So if you have this in your toolbox against basic teams, I think you're going to smoke them. But if you're going to go against a light team, then you would probably want to switch to Future Knight if you can. I don't think a lot of people have the capability to really switch their comps like that. That's definitely a very late game thing, so I don't like recommending that. But I think it's getting to the point nowadays where eventually you're going to have some core units in your team, like for example Noxia, Future Princess, but then be able to switch out. Kamael would be one, but then switch out to the correct typing. So if I'm going against a light team, I'm going to switch to that Future Knight, Future Princess team. But if I'm going against a basic team, I can switch to this team and just completely wreck them. So just keep that in mind with how flexible this guy is. I think that's really cool about him. He's able to synergize with so many different elements that doesn't matter what mono team you're going for. You can just pick this guy up and he's going to fit right in with most teams. Let's look at how creative we can get in the raid environment, because there's actually a ton of teams that he's good in here. So here, let's actually go to the raid, and then from a kind of boring but definitely worth mentioning is all the different teams you can run in the Earth team. What I think is cool about this team is you can run Tinia lead, you can run Mariel lead, you can run Kamael lead, and you can run Bari lead. All of them are very good. All of them have done a ton of damage. We look at the battle log here. We got a ton of Kamael lead, we have Bari lead, we have Mariel lead, let's see, a Tinia lead, like all these leads, and look, all of them are doing roughly about the same amount of damage. Definitely some better than others, but it's more about a gear thing than a team comp thing. And I think that's very interesting about the Earth team is just how versatile it is, and you can switch the team around. Like for example, I like Tinia lead. I just think it's easier to play. But what I've been doing is I don't use Kamael on the Earth team. I've actually been breaking apart the Earth team because I want to focus on doing Sand Monster and Goblin Chief. And what I've done is using this team. I saw that this team right here, this is actually a really low number for the amount of damage you can get with this team, but it's Garam, Kamael, Tinia, and Coco. And I think this is really cool because you're able to splash in all these different characters. You're using a rare character in Coco. I don't believe you can get her from the story. I don't know. I think she's gacha only, but someone correct me if I'm wrong there. So it's not like a more free to play team. This team could do like 14 mil. Like if I didn't screw up my chain, I didn't wait, and so then I messed up my chain here, but you can get like 14 mil with this team, which is, and people have gotten like 19 mil. Like me personally, I can do 14 mil, but people do 19 mil with this team, which is absolutely incredible, from like one run at level 80, which I think is hilarious. This is what's so cool about Kamael, is that he's able to be splashed in with all these other type of units here. And if we want to actually look at that comp here, let's see if I have it set up here. Yeah. Another thing to mention about this team is it doesn't actually proc all three of the chain, and it's still doing that kind of damage. Main point of this is about Kamael and how he can fit in with this team. And then what you would actually do is you switch the weapon here. Kamael ends up getting Messiah, which is Veronica's weapon. But I bet there's other water staffs out here that, yeah, like you could use this, for example, Ice Moon staff, or there's probably other ones that exist that are not necessarily another exclusive weapon here, but the point is that it's a water staff. Then with Tinia, you would put a water bow on, and then I just happen to use Marauder, but there's other water bows out there. For example, Cold Heart could be used. I just have this one fully max limit broken, so I'm obviously going to use that. Coco is obviously going to use her main weapon here, and this is how you can get that type of damage, is you're benefiting from the 50% water buff. His benefit in single target situations doesn't get reduced based on not having his exclusive weapon, but you do lose the fact that you're not reducing the defense immediately. So there is a trade-off there whenever you take off his exclusive, but in these single target scenarios, he's still bringing a lot to the table here because it's all tied to his auto attack. It's not tied to his exclusive weapon. For the most part, that's mainly going to be it when it comes to all these different team comps you can use with him. I think he's an amazing character, absolutely must pull. We have about 6 more days left to be able to pull this guy, so don't miss out on your opportunity. If you actually have the means to be able to pull for him, if you're on the fence or whatever, just don't hesitate. Absolutely worth pulling for him because he's so good in so many different teams, and not only is he good in every game mode, but he's like the best or second best character in every single game mode, so he's just absolutely insane. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other comps that I missed that you guys recommend, and with that, guys, I'm out. Peace.